Tonight we continue our coverage of Monday evening's shooting in Syracuse that led to the death of an 11-year-old girl. Good evening, I'm Matt Mulcahy. You're watching NBC3 News at 11. Brexialee, or Brexie as many called her, was a sixth grader at Blodgett Middle School in their high honors program. She was their class president, always looking out for her classmates. That's all according to her school principal. A young, innocent girl who had an infectious smile and a love for dance. Well, early Monday night, Brexie was shot walking down the street. She was carrying a gallon of milk. Officers say the shots came from an SUV that pulled up to that intersection. Those shots hit Ortiz in the midsection. Officers performed CPR. They tried to save her, but it was not enough to save her life. She died at Upstate Hospital just a short time later. Tonight, our Laura Lagarde talked with members of her family in their home with some precious personal moments. Laura joins us tonight.
Matt, it's been an emotional couple of days for the family and friends of Brexialee Torres-Ortiz. At least that's what her aunt told me after she gracefully took the time to speak with me, remembering her lovely niece whose life was taken away too soon. The voices of those who loved Brexialee Torres-Ortiz could be heard through the walls of her family home as they sang and prayed after losing their loved one to a drive-by shooting while bringing milk back home.
Her heart is all over the place. She's trying to be strong for her sister and the family.
Some refer to Brexialee as Brexie, but not her aunt, Maylin Ortiz, who talked to me through an interpreter tonight. She called her Arepa, a cute nickname for a loving girl.
She was always around her, making her laugh. She would tickle her and just come and hug her and making her feel loved and letting her know that she loved her. Everybody loved her. And she was just one of those kind of people that, you know, she was just loved by the community. And the support that the community is showing for them right now, it makes them feel strong, and it brings a sense of family, even if it's people they don't know. Even though the hurt, you know, of everything that's happened has a lot more weight right now, they will always remember, you know, the fun and loving times that she brought to this family, and that they will remember with joy.
Maylin says the family is very spiritual and grew up in the church. She feels the love from the community, saying it's strong.
The support that they have seen in the community, family, friends, and even people they don't know, it's a beautiful thing that it makes them feel stronger, and it's a sense of family even in the community, even if you do not know them. It is God who keeps us standing. That's what she's saying.
And Matt, I was in the room when they were chanting and they were singing, they were sending their prayers, hugging and comforting the family. It was so sad yet so moving, and right now they are still mourning but are so grateful to everyone in the community who has supported them and sent their love.
I feel like we're in on such a personal moment for that family. We don't see that very often.
You don't.
Walk into someone's home during this type of time.
You know, Rita Peniagua, who was the interpreter for me and the aunt, invited me into their home, and we came in. I was holding hands with everyone. They were singing. It went from prayers right into singing and hugs immediately, as I was saying. And you can just feel all that love and that support pouring into the mom, the aunt, the grandmother, the father. Everyone was just there for that family during such a time of need for them.
11-year-old Brexialee Torres-Ortiz was a leader at a young age and a leader who cared about her friends and classmates. Both of those qualities are abundant in many community organizations who work hard to give local children opportunities, provide a safe space for them to grow. Brexialee was an avid participant in a number of these groups. Our Maggie DeRosa says continuing coverage tonight.
Local nonprofits are critical in the support of many young people in our community, especially those who face poverty and rely on the safe space for a meal, a refuge, or a place to play and be a kid. Brexialee's death has touched the lives of so many in the community, especially within the nonprofits who knew the young girl well.
This tragedy has touched many lives, has touched the whole entire organization.
The YWCA worked with Brexialee at Blodgett Middle School in a program designed to empower young girls. The organization is now trying to be there for classmates that will be wondering why she isn't at school anymore.
The best that you can do right now is listening and talk, so they can just let it out what it's hurting inside you.
These organizations are built around providing a safe space and resources to children who need it. Mark Gerard has worked for over 5 local nonprofits and says their importance cannot be overstated.
I think if we give people options for the time that's between, say, school and when they go to bed, there's going to be a lot less trouble, a lot less violence, and a lot more opportunity to do something constructive, something that they're passionate about.
Census data shows Brexialee lived in one of the country's poorest neighborhoods. Over 50% of kids there live below the poverty line. Although local groups are able to provide kids in low-income areas with a lot, there is only so much space and money to do so.
Unfortunately, we live in a country and a society that has systems in place that put down people and make their lives more challenging. So I think that organizations like the Arts Project Syracuse and like the Boys and Girls Club and like the YWCA exist to attempt to put one grain of sand on the right side of an incredibly unbalanced scale.
Gerard wants to see a lot more funding and help from the government to continue uplifting these kids, hoping to reach more kids before violence happens.
I think if they look at the areas and look at what's available and look at the percentage of kids that there are, the percentage of kids that actually have an option, that they actually are regular to attend, they're going to see there's a bunch of people getting missed.
Community leaders who work closely with youth organizations say they need help, especially from the suburbs. They ask that you volunteer, donate, or write letters to government. They say if everybody does something, then we can uplift these kids.
Just about every member of the minority Republicans and even a few Democrats voted against a massive $32,000 pay raise for state lawmakers in the waning days of 2022. Coupled with their last raise 4 years ago, that's a 78% pay hike to $142,000 a year. There are the numbers. So I decided to track down those who voted no to see if they will put their money where their mouth is. Why? Because you paid for it. They stood tall against pay raises.
The work we are proposing here today is nothing short of shameful.
Spoke out against them, voted against them.
Calling a special session to vote on a member pay increase makes it appear that many in this chamber are out of touch.
So we're getting in touch with them because even those who voted no and returned to the legislature this year are getting that pay raise. Here's now Senator Mark Walczyk on the floor of the Assembly saying what many constituents were no doubt thinking.
You should be ashamed that you would call a special session to bring a bill like this to the floor of the state assembly.
So I've got a simple question for all those who were ashamed and voted nay on the pay raise. Why not give it back?
Have you given any thought? You spoke with such outrage about it. Have you given any thought to possibly giving the pay raise back?
There's not a mechanism of not taking that increase, but I will tithe 10% to my church, and I will use whatever is left over to make sure that Democrats that voted for that bill do not get reelected.
Senator Pam Helming said this on the floor.
This body should take immediate action to provide some relief for our constituents rather than prioritizing our own incomes.
Here's what she said when I tracked her down.
Any thought given at all to you and your colleagues who voted no to giving back the pay raise?
That is something I haven't really discussed with my colleagues at all. But I would also say that I'm not sure what giving it back would achieve.
As Senator Walczak said, lawmakers are constitutionally and statutorily required to take their full salary, but they can donate all or a portion of that salary back to the state. I take you to State Finance Law 11, which spells out how to make a gift to the state coffers. It's pretty simple. The law says the money shall be paid to the Department of Taxation and Finance to be held by such department in trust for the uses and purposes specified by the donor. So for anyone who thinks the raise is wrong,
for the legislature to decide this is the priority to start the new year out with, it's just, disingenuous to all New Yorkers.
it could be made right by returning the money.
I haven't thought of giving it back to New York State.
Some actually did not know they could return the cash to constituents until we told them.
I don't believe we were actually able to give back the pay raise.
You are able to. You can gift the money back to the state. State Tax Finance Law 11.
I did not know that. I'll look into it.
75 people in the Assembly and Senate voted no. If they all returned the massive $32,000 raise, that would be $2.4 million the state would get back that could go toward helping the people lawmakers represent. Less if they only return what they netted after taxes.
Oh, and the state is a great charity if you were to ever pick one. I say that facetiously, obviously.
So far, out of the 75, a grand total of 0 lawmakers have said they will give back the raise. Now, lawmakers could also donate their raise to charity. Years ago, the former member of the Assembly, Bob Riley from Colony, would donate his entire lawmaker salary to charity. We'll keep you updated on which, if any, lawmakers do return their raise.